We are Rogue Media Sports.
Yo, welcome to Keep Stacking with Riley. Thank y'all for joining me today. Let's get into the episode.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Keep Stacking podcast. Today, I am accompanied by my new friend, Jeff Jones. Thank you for joining me, man.
Hey, Riley, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, me and Jeff are new friends. He found out about me through YouTube and a family friend that lives in town. I'm very excited to talk to him. We're going to learn about him, his story, how he ended up in the chair. And then we'll kind of go into some more of what his walk with God's been like, his faith, and how that's impacted after his injury. But I think most importantly, what I want to discuss is the fundraiser you have coming up towards the end of the year. I have had some ideas, intentions to fundraise or start a foundation as well. So I'm very intrigued to learn why you did it, what it takes, and how I'm going to be involved going forward. So I guess let's begin with you and your story. How did you end up in this chair? How, when, where?
So today's, of course, August 16th, and I'm not sure when this will be posted, but tomorrow will be my 1 year mark. Basically, I was on a golf trip last year with, we had a group of guys down at Cedar Creek Lake, and after the round, we were staying at a lake house, went and jumped in off the dock. Didn't realize how deep the water is.
And you
dove right in, probably about 3.5 foot of water. Hit my head, on the bottom. Yeah. The funny thing is, well, it's not really funny, but there was really no pain. It just happened so quick.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of those deals that happens. You don't even realize what's going on.
Were you conscious when you were underwater?
Yeah. So I was conscious when I was underwater. We went through some periods of kind of going in and out of consciousness while, luckily, I had a good group of my friends that were there and they saw the accident happen.
Okay. So they got to you pretty quickly.
They got to me pretty quickly. Pulled me out, and it was, it was, I guess it seemed like an eternity, but it happened pretty quick as far as the first responders getting there and what their course of action was going to be to get me kind of out of there.
I had a friend that he had a diving accident as well. And he was he described it he was underwater for so long that he knew that he was coming up on his last breath. And he was like, man, this is it. This is where I die. Did you have a similar experience?
I think it was panic initially because it took me a minute to realize that even though I was conscious, I was able to kind of move my arms and where it kind of felt like I was swimming, but then you kind of have that sense of nothing below the chest is moving.
Yeah.
And so you're not able to kind of get upright to where you can get your head out of water.
That would be sheer panic if I knew. And
it was weird because I could still, I could hear my friends yelling around me.
Telling you to come up and stuff, or?
Well, they were one of my buddies that was closest to me. He was already making his way, over to me because he saw it happen, and they were basically telling him, get him,
Yeah.
and I could hear that.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that, hey, someone's coming, but yeah, you're kind of sitting there and you're trying to breathe, and
Are you trying to breathe holding your breath, or you're just what do you mean trying to breathe? Because you can't suck in water.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, you're just kind of sitting there. You're wanting, you're of course wanting to breathe, and I feel like I did suck in some water.
Yeah, probably for sure.
But you can still kind of, I was able to hear everything that was going around me, and that was kind of
There's probably way too much adrenaline
part.
And all that going on for you to even really know exactly what happened.
I think that's really kind of what kicked in was the adrenaline factor. It was kind of the fight or flight type situation.
Yeah. Whenever the first responders got there, what do you remember about that? How intense was that moment or those moments?
I mean, when the first responders got there, I don't think the intensity set in until they got me loaded up into the ambulance, and then they took me over to the
emergency room,
the volunteer fire department in Gun Barrel City.
Yeah, small town. Yeah.
Yeah, small town. And then they basically told me, "Hey, we're airlifting you out of here."
Yeah.
And it was probably at that moment when I heard the helicopter land that I kind of realized that this isn't. It was kind of more severe
Yeah.
than it really was. You know, of course, when the accident first happened, I was kind of thinking, hey, this is, like a football injury. You get a stinger.
Yeah.
You kind of hit your head and you have that spinal cord compression, type deal where you just kind of go numb and you think that at any moment you're going to kind of snap out of it. And yeah, it's a temporary deal. And then you kind of realize when the paramedics tell you that they're not going to take you to a little small, small hospital in town,
You're
that they're
a helicopter.
Yeah, that you're taking a helicopter ride, that you're like, oh, well, okay, well, this is pretty intense.
So what was like I guess your ICU stay like? Are you totally aware of what's going on in the ICU? Like doctors talking to you? Because my stay was like, I was out of it for like the next 40 days. Felt like, are you like kind of conversating with doctors and like your wife, and are you there mentally?
I think when I first got there, it was kind of chaos with everything that was going on. And of course, you've got the doctor, you've got all the doctors coming in and they're checking on you, and then they're taking you in for an MRI. And, and then I remember, coming out of the MRI, and then they put you in the, whatever for me, it was that device where they put like the screws to your, they
like the cranium thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I never put one of those on, I don't think.
Yeah. They kind of put you on, they put one of those on me just so they could, I guess, reset the spinal alignment. Yeah. And then just, you're just kind of laying there helpless, looking up at the ceiling, and you've got people coming in and telling you what's going on. And, I kind of remember my surgeon coming in and telling me, what the severity of the injury was. And I even asked him, I said, what are the chances of me walking again? And he was like,
so you had the wherewithal to ask him a question like that.
Yeah. Now after that night, that was on a Saturday. So that was on a Saturday. And next thing I knew, I think I woke up, it was like a Monday afternoon.
Okay. So
they, once they got everything going for surgery, they kept me under for, a little over 24 hours.
Okay. Man, one thing that I'm kind of thinking about, I've always thought the timing of my accident wasn't that bad. And like, I always thought like, how it would have been worse to get injured later in life. Like say in your situation, when you're married with a kid, like that was just a nightmare scenario for me, because I feel like, as a husband and dad, like so many people depend on you and look up to you, and like you've kind of established yourself as like a leader.
Yeah.
So like even now, like, I mean, I'm in a leadership shop with like my siblings and some stuff like that. So like that really hurts to not be like as dependable to them. But have you had thoughts of like, or like how difficult has that been for you, just like being a dad and being in your...
Well, it was tough because mine happened in the summertime. So it was actually right before my daughter started her senior year.
Oh yeah.
And so
all attention goes to you now when it should be on her. Kind
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like to a certain degree, it kind of robbed her of, having a little more joy for her senior year. I mean, because I remember my senior year in high school was an absolute blast.
Yeah,
but,
same.
But for her, I kind of feel like it deprived her of it. But she's very mature for her age, and I think to a certain degree she kind of embraced this situation. As far as being somewhat of a little bit of a caretaker and kind of stepping up. I mean, she's actually going to be starting college. She'll be starting college this year, and she's actually she starts in a couple of weeks, and she's going for her paramedics. Cool. She wants to be a paramedic, so I kind of feel like it was something for her. It was kind of right up her alley.
Has it always been a dream of hers, is to go into that like healthcare?
Not really so much, healthcare. I know she's for quite a few years now, she's always wanted to do something as far as being a first responder.
Yeah.
Either whether or not it was going to be doing firefighting or paramedic, but I think she's going to do the paramedic route first and then see where that takes her. And maybe that'll take her into firefighting.
Cool, man. So yeah, you're coming up on your 1 year. Whenever I reached my 1 year, I was kind of anticipating it to not be as big of a deal. Like I was like, what does 1 year from the accident really signify as far as like all of that? But then like as it actually got there, I posted on Instagram about it and had a bunch of people reached out and like were very supportive. But I think
it's tough.
It didn't change much for me though.
It's tough.
I hate remembering the day. Like there's just so much shame involved.
I think that's where I'm at. I just want to get past the day. I
don't want to recognize that day.
Yeah, I tried to tell I tried to tell my wife. For me, it's just I want to look at it as just another day. I mean, obviously, you can't go back and change things. You just kind of gotta accept things for what they are. And I know it's going to have an effect on me tomorrow. I know it's going to play with my emotions a little bit. But I think once I get past it, it'll, probably come Monday morning.
Yeah.
You're 1 day after that 1 year mark. It'll be a little bit.
I will say after once I got past the 1 day and like, I don't even think it really weighed that much on me, but it was nice to get past it. Cause I just always knew it was approaching.
Yeah.
But, okay. Yeah. Good. Well, one thing that I want to keep talking about the getting injured later. Cause like, that's just been a thought of mine is like how the timing of injury wasn't that bad. How has it like affected you as a husband and like I'm just always thinking of like, if I were, let's say in your position, like I'm a dad, husband, and like now I'm like breadwinner, like I provide and like everybody's depending on me, but now like I'm worthless and like I can't provide, I can't support. Like, I mean, I guess I could support emotionally, but I just wouldn't. The thing that scares or frightens me the most about getting married one day is like how much I won't be able to help around the house or like with the kids or with I really only will be able to help with like emotional support. Do you think that's enough as a husband?
Emotionally, I know for us, it's brought me and my wife much closer together. For me, I'm always the type of person, and I've always been the type of person that I hate sitting still.
Yeah, same. Dude, you should see my dad. Like, he cannot sit still. And I was never that bad about it, but now that I'm forced to be still, like, I know that I just want to move.
Yeah, so, I would always go to work, and, during the summertime, I would look forward to coming home and, mowing the yard, taking care of the pool, doing stuff like that, playing with the dogs.
Those things like fulfill you and like you're doing something like doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And and now it's like I kind of feel like I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's like I want to do it so bad, but it's like you just can't do it. And so now I have to now the burden kind of falls on my wife and my daughter, which I know that's tough. And right now she's the only one working.
Yeah.
So I know that's a lot on her. And then of course everything that we've got going on with the kid or, with our daughter.
Yeah.
Not a kid anymore, but
she's grown up now.
Yeah, she's all grown up. So yeah, it's,
I think just the heaviest part for me, bro, is like how much I can't do. Like I feel like I just take away from people all the time and I can't ever do anything to improve other people's lives. Like I'm just always take. No, I can't give much unless it's words. And like, I've never been much of one to be comfortable with speaking, which is ironic now that I do this. I guess like, I just feel like God's like literally forcing me to use my words because I used to avoid it so often in the past. So like, maybe this is him trying to tell me that this is what I'm supposed to do. Speak more and like, be more courageous with my words and like not be so concerned about other people's thoughts about what I say. Certainly that's what's helped me back in the past. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll just continue to grow in that because like there's no like solution to that. I don't think. Do you think
No,
you just get past it and just like get over it?
You know,
Because that's what I feel like I have to do.
and my wife and I, we had talked about it. I think this was God's way of basically getting me to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, even at work, it was everything. I was running a small business.
Oh yeah. What did you do? What was your sponsor?
So I was a president of a company that we manufactured corporate awards. So we did engraving on like glass and crystal
cool.
awards.
I mean, like trophies and stuff.
Yeah, like
Pretty
trophies.
much,
yeah, corporate. We would do kind of everything, small or large, but kind of running that business and the stresses of, getting everything through. I'd been with the company for 18 years and, getting the company through like the COVID days and stuff like that when everything was tough. And I think I put a lot of that burden on myself, to make sure that, other people had a job and they were able to provide for their family. And so I know it was taking a lot on me. And of course, everything after work and stuff like that. And like I said, I'd never wanted to sit still.
Yeah.
I would go out into the garage and just find things to tinker on until.
You're pretty hands-on, like handyman?
Try to be.
Like build stuff? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always enjoyed building stuff or fixing things.
Yeah.
So I would always just kind of do stuff like that until kind of whenever.
How do you fill up your time now? Like, I mean, I use a lot of my time, like pretty much I just rotate chess, poker, reading. I do that very seldomly. Or like YouTube and TV. Like, how do you spend your time?
Probably YouTube and TV. And
what's your YouTube algorithm like?
Probably a lot of like fishing.
Yeah.
Fishing and
do you watch that guy camp outside, like in the wilderness, or like he goes in the snow a lot?
Is he the one that just he?
I think he just stopped.
He just stopped.
Yeah. He's very popular.
Yeah.
My friends watch him a lot. I have a lot of chess on YouTube, a lot of now it's a lot of sports card stuff too. You ever into sports cards?
The where they do the unpackings of
like they rip them, or like there's like a lot of card shows too. Where like there'll be vendors at a card show and like people come by and bargain, negotiate for a certain card. Anyway, I've kind of gained an interest in that. But we've talked about so you mentioned how like you think this is like God's way of telling you to slow down. How fast were you going, and like do you think you mentioned the business keeping you pretty fast paced lifestyle? Obviously being a dad and husband keeps everything moving, and just the way like life is today, like nothing seems slow. Like now that I'm so still, like I just see everybody moving at light speed around me.
I know,
especially parents, siblings. Like nobody's ever home, and
just try and go to a Buc-ee's and see how fast people move around you.
Yeah, like it's kind of nice to recognize, or it's kind of nice to be still sometimes. Obviously, we're too still most of the time, but I feel blessed in the sense that like I get to be still, and like I get to not be so rushed and all of that. But so yeah, but like you mentioned God's might have used this accident to slow you down. What are some do you think you've been like blessed in disguise through this accident in some ways? Or like how do you view that?
I feel like it has, because I feel like if I didn't slow down, just with the amount of stress I was kind of putting on myself, I feel like it would have probably would have, at some point I would have had a heart attack or something because of it. Just like I said, it was always one of those deals where I was always kind of carrying the burdens of other people and, putting that on myself. And I mean, that starts to weigh a lot after a while. And I think that was kind of God's way of like, hey,
chill out, please.
Chill out. Yeah. I mean, your family needs you. And, I mean, I guess we'll kind of see where it goes down the road.
So what was your relationship with Christ like before your accident?
Probably honestly, probably not much of one
Yeah.
before the accident. Kind of as a kid, and maybe through like junior high years, I would go to church and do like the youth Wednesdays
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and
Go through the motions, just
hang
hang out.
stuff like that, hang out. Didn't really, didn't really have much of a
Foundation.
relationship
Yeah.
with Christ and the church beforehand, and kind of after the accident, it was actually when I was in the hospital. One of our real good friends, his wife came in and I gave myself to Christ,
Yeah.
and was
Why though? Did they think like you were going to pass away?
no,
Okay.
I think it was just more of a kind of putting the situation in his hands,
Yeah.
and kind of relying on him to
Take control of this whole situation.
kind of take control of the whole situation and kind of show us where we're going to go.
Yeah.
I know my wife, her and her dad, they've always, they've had a lot of faith in this whole entire,
Mm-hmm.
through this whole entire process. So it's kind of been a tough situation to deal with.
Whenever I hear people of the accident stories and they getting hurt, like a lot of their reactions, like, "Why, God? Like, why would this happen to me?" I've never struggled with that. I think it was pretty obvious why. I mean, I got way too drunk and hit a tree, so like that's why. I didn't feel like there was much blame on God as to why this happened. Do you feel that way? Because like if I were in your situation, I would just feel like straight up unlucky, pissed off, kind of annoyed. Like, why is the water that shallow? Like, come on, you could.
Yeah.
Come on, God, you could have made it like
Right?
8 feet
You
deep.
couldn't have made it right.
You knew that was gonna happen. Like, why don't we just make it a little deeper?
I
Or do you struggle with like the why God?
think it's more of the, I think we kind of asked that question.
It's kind of inevitable. for
You
sure.
kind of,
Yeah.
it is. It's inevitable to ask that question of, well, why did this have to happen? Especially, something,
this severe. Yeah.
why couldn't it have just been something,
Like break your arm or like
Yeah,
I've always
yeah.
like I've never dealt with injury, but like I always feel like I feel like I had to ask God for something hard, but I was like, I feel like you could give me like a level 7 difficulty, but like we just went straight to the maximum difficulty.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's all, it's like going from 60 to 0.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of, you're kind of taken back. And I mean, really at the end of the day, it's one of those deals where, we kind of ask God why, and, but I mean, I guess even in my situation,
Yeah.
it was kind of free will,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wish from an injury perspective, it would have been more of maybe a minor concussion.
Yeah. That could have sufficed and
That would
taught
have
a
been
lesson.
like, all right, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So one thing that I feel like I know the answer to the question, but like who has been like your greatest support, and like who have you who's shown up, and like who do you like appreciate the most throughout this whole thing, just because you've been able to see how much their love is shown through, and like just like how much like you actually are loved. Who's been that person for you?
I mean, obviously, I mean, outside of my, my wife and my daughter,
Yeah.
one of my real good friends, Donnie, he's
You're like childhood lifelong friends.
no, we've probably only been friends for, about 10 or so years, but he and I, we've played a lot of golf together.
Mm-hmm.
And he, right now he doesn't live too far from us, but he comes over and, he'll just hang out, or, we'll text back and forth with each other just to, he'll just to kind of check on me.
Yeah.
He even when I was in ICU and even in the hospital, there were several nights where he actually just came up there and just stayed the night.
Nice.
So it was kind of one of those deals, just to have someone there to, to kind of talk to and, hang out with. It gets pretty lonely in those places real quick.
Yeah. I started staying by myself with my second stay in tier, and like I was at that point, that was like 8 months after my accident, so I'm grateful for some alone time. But dude, the loneliness is probably like what I struggle with second most after the shame. There's like shame, loneliness, and like if they have physical disabilities might come like third, fourth, or fifth
Yeah.
on the list of difficulties. But yeah, those, I mean, hospitals at night are not
Well,
fun, bro.
you know, in the more quiet, you know, the quieter it is in your room, you start to hear all the other outside noises.
Yeah, I feel like my thoughts get even louder. Like I can't even drown out my brain.
I mean, when you start hearing when you start hearing the pages going off to go to other rooms, and you're just like, oh, how am I supposed to sleep? And you know, with all
sleeping
this
in hospitals,
going on,
it's not happening unless you're just drugged up and knocked out. Oh man. Okay, well, I think I like those. I like what we discussed about like your accident and all that. So like, I definitely want to talk about what's coming up, and that's your foundation, your fundraiser coming up at the end of the year. So like, what was it like last year?
You know, last year
that was the first year, right?
Yeah, so that was the first year, and really, I think it kind of started off where while I was, while I was actually still in the inpatient rehab, you know,
it was probably like 6 months after the accident.
No, so this,
like 3.
So 3 months. Okay. So my accident happened in August. So yeah, come November
24. Yeah.
3 months after the accident. So while I was in rehab, a bunch of our friends, they started to kind of put together the organization just to kind of help out with, obviously, with, being out of,
expenses.
Me being out of work and expenses and stuff like that with what was coming up. So they started to kind of throw together, this golf tournament. And, we were members at a small club up in Arlington.
Which one was that?
Rolling Hills Country Club.
Okay. So, I didn't make it there yet. I only got to like a few courses in Dallas.
Yeah. So we were members there for.
Is it private?
About 10 or 11 years. Yeah, it was private. Okay. And they actually, so a couple of years ago, they shut it down. And of course, real estate, land prices got for what it was. So they, of course, got sold and demolished, and now it's being commercial and residential built on it. But we had a real good, a bunch of friends up there, and then we joined when that closed down. We joined out at Walnut Creek in Mansfield, and so a bunch of our friends, kind of from both places, started putting everything together. Yeah. And so we kind of had a 2-part deal where the Friday before we had a little kind of a benefit concert type deal,
like a warm up.
Yeah, a little pregame at the Grease Monkey in Arlington, and so we met up there. They did a silent auction, and stuff like that, and they had music.
Yeah.
Then that was on Friday, and then Monday we had the golf tournament. So they were able, everyone was kind of able to put everything together probably in the like 2 months leading up to it.
Nice.
And it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And I think we started kind of telling people at that event that was something that we wanted to do going forward. So we started working on the process of of getting the organization together, as far as getting our 504c3 or non-for-profit type status. So we set up the organization. It's called SCI Survivors Empowerment Network.
Nice.
So that's the main organization, and then the golf tournament is Fore.
Okay.
Gotcha. forejj.org. That's the website.
And is your foundation called Fore?
So that's what we named the tournament. We tried to do the foundation as that, but you kind of have to the whole
like domain, who owns the name already and all that.
No, I guess it's kind of for IRS purposes. They want something to be put together where it makes it seem like it's a little more, I guess, for a cause.
Yeah.
It kind of worked out because we're actually hoping to, as we continue to build and progress, to add other events outside of a golf tournament, do like, cookouts, crawfish boils, stuff like that. Just kind of just bring people together.
Yeah.
Spread awareness. Hopefully, we can reach out to some other organizations that are, spinal cord injury related, like-mindedness organizations, and kind of bring them in and just kind of get people together and, have some fellowship and
That's the whole point. So like, we've had one meeting about the golf tournament coming up and like how I'm going to be involved, but give us and me a better, or like what's coming up in November? What's the Grease Monkey and the tournament going to be like? How am I going to be involved? And like, let's just start there. I have more questions. So
yeah. So basically what we did is, so this was the first year and we set everything up. And now that we've kind of got everything under the nonprofit umbrella, we'll have it'll be November 1st this year. It'll be the event at the Grease Monkey.
Yep.
And then on November 3rd will be the tournament at Walnut Creek Country Club. And so basically what we're doing is, so all of the proceeds that we're able to bring in, and we wanted to bring you in on board to have you, participate in these events, but all of the proceeds that we're able to bring in and raise, we basically want you to be our first benefactor.
Sweet. Benefactor. That's the word I was looking for, but I didn't know. So thank you.
The first benefactor of the organization. And, we're hoping to do this, like I said, more of this going forward, and whether or not it's even getting involved with people who are parents of parents that may have spinal cord injuries, that, maybe we can, do stuff as far as, some sort of, scholarships and stuff like that to help with schooling and stuff like that kind of after the fact. But, I know you're in the process of wanting to get a vehicle, correct? Yeah.
That's my next step I want to do.
So we would love to be able to
Amazing.
To do what we can and
help contribute towards that.
For sure.
So what's like you mentioned some crawfish boils, maybe not just golf tournaments going forward, but like what's your 5-year outlook on this foundation?
We're just
a most ideal scenario. What do you think it could be?
I think it's kind of one of those deals where we could have multiple events and even piggyback on with some of the other organizations, which, we have kind of become a part of, with I can't remember the organization that is, Josh, United Spinal Cord Association, kind of with them. And maybe, we can kind of talk to them to see if we can, partner and kind of bring people together. I know they have a pretty good following in it, and I know it's always hard trying to get a new organization like this up and running and kind of spreading the word.
Y'all are doing it fast, so I feel like y'all are doing it. Like, how did y'all find me again?
So we actually found you. So it was while I was in rehab.
Okay.
I think it was kind of on my last days of rehab. My wife Amber, her dad lives in the Waco area.
Yeah.
And I guess he had heard about your accident, and he was actually traveling back and forth between Waco and Dallas. And he was coming up there quite a bit, and he was a huge help kind of through that whole process, because he would, even on the days when my wife couldn't be there, or she had stuff going on, he would kind of come up to help out with the house and with the dogs. But he came up there, and I think he had.
Did you see an episode of the podcast? Or I was in the paper one time too.
I think it was the paper or
there was a magazine too.
Or the magazine. I think
that was February this year though.
Yeah, so I think they had provided some information on the podcast.
Okay, probably.
And that's kind of how he came across it. And then so that's when kind of as we were going down the road, on our end, we had kind of talked about it, and we were like, I think Amber started, kind of sending you messages saying, hey, we kind of need to connect. And I think he had sent you some messages.
I think she Instagram DM'd me first. Yeah.
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 And so we kind of figured, we were like, well, this needs to be something that, both you and I can get together and we can kind of discuss.
Yeah. Which we did last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how that all started. He had seen a publication on, I think it was in the magazine or the newspaper, and he was like, well, I'm going to look into this.
That's cool. I can't wait to meet him. So how can people listening know or learn more about this, donate, get involved with the golf fundraiser in November? And what's the date too?
So the golf tournament will be November 3rd.
Okay.
And the website is forejj.org.
Fore. Yep.
Yeah, forejj.org. We're still getting kind of everything wrapped up on the back end of kind of the website to get everything published out there. You don't necessarily have to play in the tournament.
Okay.
We're going to have, of course, we'll have sponsorship opportunities or even just opportunities for people who want to donate. They can donate.
Yeah.
But even at the tournament, we're going to have, after the round, during the dinner portion, we've got a guy who comes in with a bunch of silent auction stuff. So we'll be running a bunch of silent auction.
Sweet. What's one of your top items you think you'll have?
So last year he did a deal where he brought in, it was like an all expense paid trip for like an Argentina dove hunt.
Whoa. Sounds awesome.
And he ended up selling 3 of those packages,
nice.
Kind of on the spot. It was a pretty cool deal, but he brings in a bunch of like sports memorabilia.
Cool. Love that. Is it like his job to like do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all
he's a silent auction guy. Okay.
He's just a silent auction guy. I guess you kind of team up with him and he goes out and finds all the stuff and he brings it up there and
it's cool. I like that job.
Yeah. He brings in a bunch of cool stuff. He brings in guitars from musicians and
like signed guitars too sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting deal he's got there.
Love it. Okay, so we talked about the fundraiser. I feel like I can get some more. Hold on. Oh, what was the date on it? November
3rd.
Okay, we said that.
And then the first will be the event will be at the Grease Monkey in Arlington.
And what's the format of the golf tournament? 4-man scramble?
Yeah, it's just a 4-man scramble. It's, of course, we all relate to like little Monday scramble tournaments like that is,
How often were you playing in those, the Monday scramble tournaments? How often were you playing in Monday scramble tournaments before?
Oh God. So Monday scramble. So early on, right after high school, I was actually a golf pro for,
about
7 or 8 years.
That's cool.
in the DFW area. I'd worked at several clubs in the DFW area. And then of course got tired of that. So I'd been playing golf for quite a while.
So you can swing it. When did you start playing?
Probably when I was 12 or 13, I started kind of messing around with it, just trying to find something to occupy time between baseball and the off season. Just kind of finding something to do, take my anger out on something. Yeah.
What was your PR score? What was your best score?
So probably my personal best would have been a 60, probably 67.
Jeez, dude. When? How old were you?
So that was actually a couple of years ago.
Okay, recently.
So yeah, that was actually not, several years, a couple of years ago, probably within the past 5 years.
Yeah.
But I'd always maintained probably about anywhere between a 1 to 2 handicap.
Wow.
For quite a while.
Where were you a pro at?
So I was a pro out at Las Colinas Country Club.
Okay. I played there one time. Yeah.
So I was a pro there and then spent a little bit of time after that, over at it used to be Oak Cliff Country Club. I think it's now Golf Club of Dallas.
Okay.
Over off of 67 and Redbird in Dallas.
Cool.
But that was actually back where the original Byron Nelson started. Was out there back in the late 50s, early 60s.
Do you think you could have won your tournament if you assembled your best team of 4 guys? You probably shot like 50 something.
If it was a matter of just kind of me getting whoever I wanted.
You're trying to win the thing. Yeah, you think you can win it?
I think the only thing that would have beat us is whoever had the best eraser.
Yeah. My brother is a big golfer. He's in high school. He's a senior this year. I think his best round is probably like a 74. Nice. But he can swing it too. And I'm going to get him there. I'm trying to get him to assemble the best team so he can try to win it too. Right.
But no, that'll be a great deal, for them. Just like I said, it's nothing spectacular. I think for the most part, it's just everyone come out and
raise awareness and fellowship. That's what I want to do.
Fellowship and just support a good cause and let's kind of help build this. Yeah. Build this thing.
Thank you so much for including me because I feel so blessed, lucky. Obviously, like the helping raise money for the car is great. But I'm just getting involved in an organization like this that helps awareness and let's just, like we said, help build awareness and people gather together. That's like the whole point for or like life and just like relationships. So I'm so glad God presented your Amber's dad with me, and like we just got. It's really, I love how stuff worked out like that, and I'm happy to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
No, we're super happy to have you on board, and hope we can raise as much money as we can for you.
So like as we're, I mean, I think we got pretty good information about the fundraiser. What do you? So I think I'll wrap up here. But like, what do you? What's next for you? Like as far as recovery, obviously we're going to be preparing for the fundraiser in November. But like, what are these next before the fundraiser? What does that time look like for you?
So kind of, of course, still going through some medical stuff.
What's like the most pressing right now?
So right now we just had, we did some nerve testing. So we're kind of looking into the possibilities of doing the like nerve transfer surgery.
Oh yeah. With the hands. Yeah.
With the hands.
Mention that.
So I'll go back in next week to do the follow-up with, based on those results to see if the nerve transfer would be a viable option to maybe get some hand functionality back.
Do you feel like that's your biggest struggle with hand function? It's easily mine. Yeah.
I
feel like I wouldn't be that disabled if I just had one hand. I feel like I could.
I feel like if I had use of my hands, it wouldn't be. It'd be a little easier to cope with, but I feel like it's kind of one of those deals. It's like, all right, you took my legs and my hands away from me. Now you're, now it's a problem. But I feel like if I had more use of my hands, it would open up more possibilities. Because, obviously, kind of like you, it's like I'd love to be able to drive again.
Yeah.
The biggest deal for me is I'd love to be able to have, be able to spend some time and get into a manual chair.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And
the manual chair is not all it's cracked up to be, though.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's so nice being able to be in public easier, but it's like it's a new challenge. But I totally support it. Like it is the next step for sure. But
yeah, it's one of those deals. I feel like to me, it's kind of it's a different level of activity.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of exert some
everything
energy
gets better. Like since I'm pushing my chair more often now, like my transfers got better. Like I move around the bed a lot better. Like I can go through the night just moving myself, turn and all that stuff now. So like it's definitely a great goal to have because it's only going to improve things. But
yeah, I feel
there's
like
no but. It's just
like
challenging.
sitting in this thing, it's just my back tightens up.
Yeah.
It's just you go through so many different levels of discomfort, and it's just throughout the day you just try and find things to stay as active and as move around as much
it's hard
as
to be
possible.
active in those chairs.
Yeah,
they're so luxurious. Like I just want to kick back and chill in it when I'm in it. Yeah,
it's a portable recliner.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, yeah, we got what's coming up next. And we'll just be getting prepared for the fundraiser in November. Dude, thank you again just so much for coming and including me in the fundraiser. We'll definitely leave links in the description just on theforgeedit.org. And then I'll be posting a lot on my Instagram about the tournament. And then I'll post this episode probably early September,
okay,
a few weeks from now. Just give some time to let people hear about it, hear your story, and then I'll just keep posting, like I said, periodically leading up to the event. But yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Alrighty.
Thank y'all for listening. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have somebody that you think would be a good guest, or you'd be a good guest, or you have questions for me, just shoot me a DM. Once again, thank you guys. Y'all keep stacking. Peace.